A policeman. Yeah, because a virgin and me a drive and two other that and the virgin see them and them drop this cliff and them see it and them see them lock up the whole of the car go Admiral Town police station. And when we in the cell, the man come there turn to the tune 3 o'clock. This is the Cutting Edge and Irie FM. We're there with you. And next Wednesday, it's the 1st of February. You know, it's Dennis Emmanuel Brown's Earth Day, and we usually do it. Yes, it's a tradition that we celebrate Dennis Brown Earth Day, and this is the 1st of February. It's also Black History Month, the beginning of Black History Month. So, you know, say, here we are going to tonight, you know. And Dennis Brown, you know, straight till 2 o'clock, you know. And we will take phone call. Any Dennis Brown where you are here, just call me and we play it for you. So we are making you know that. Just set your radio, turn up your radio loud, disturb your neighbor them, and make your neighbor them disturb your neighbor them. And know so the Cutting Edge tribute to Dennis Brown. Well, a song, yes, and as we say, we have a speaker here. Urban Miller, how you doing, man?
You graduate now, go on.
Why you wake up, man?
No, we sleep already and wake up and waiting.
No, I wake up.
I can't take it when you call me and I fast asleep, man.
And that's why I can't take it when you don't answer, Nina. So you're better now. It's that time of the year again. Foundation.
After what, 2 years, 2.5
years? Yeah.
2 foundation we miss, you know.
Miss, yeah, me remember, man, me remember. Institute of Jamaica always nice when keep.
Serious thing.
Alright, so we are going to go on this year and all. Since that 2 years we don't hear it.
Yeah, well, of course, first of all, you know, officially, we are, the country is celebrating its 60 years of independence. It depends on who we are. We might look at it as true independence, or we might look at it as partial or virtual. So, as a result, as we talk about Ground Nation, this year it's called 60 Years of Music, Political Activism and Social Change. And as you well know, as an artist and advocate of certain levels of freedom, our musicians and our singers have always reflected that aspect, well, all aspects, but in particular, liberation, freedom, etc.
Yes.
And at each step of the way within that 60 years, even just before during Federation time, there was artists were responding with music. You know, for example, once we were in the process of realizing that we call it now, that Federation was not gonna work out. Right. You know, you had people like Lord Larrow, Mapletop Pool, Baba Mota doing songs pro and con, for and against independence. It sounds like Federation. Songs like Federation, Make We Federate. Lord Larrow had a great little song called The Bell, The Bell, The Bell. And then, you know, and there was a great song when Jamaica decided it was not going to stay with the Federation, called Jamaica Go It Alone, to seek independence on its own. And of course, you know, Eric Williams' famous quip, 1 from 10 leaves 0.
Yeah.
So that took us into independence with songs like Forward March, Derek Morgan, Lord Creator, Jamaica Independence, a tune named Joy Bells Are Ringing, all Jamaica are singing, etc. Rico Rodriguez has a great song called August 1962. So the musicians, the artists, etc., all responding to the political activities taking place. So that's what we really want to explore this year with independence. Of course, by the time we get to 1968, everything crashed, Better Must Come.
Yes.
1972, the election that saw a lot of artists doing bandwagon tours across the island from all the top artists.
And then the 7 them start clash too.
Then the 7 clashed by 77.
Yeah.
So people listening would realize songs weren't just an aesthetic. It wasn't just something nice. It had deep meaning.
Yeah.
Deep meaning. And we plan to explore that with a bunch of social scientists, academics in general, and artists as well, just to say what prompted certain reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you a good example. There's a song called My Leader Barney and I Now Leave You.
Yeah. To go
You have another song called As We Fight Against One Another. So it was an Ernest Smith song. What we fight
one of them are Pluto Shervington, one of Ernest Smith.
Yes, as we fight for the power and the glory of Jack Kingdom. But remember now, meditations came into the song saying, if you're running from Jamaica, make sure it's forever.
Yeah.
But when the door is locked, we don't want to knock it.
Yeah.
But them run with you.
Well, Pluto Shervington, this is flight time, flight to Miami don't mean to nothing to this man. And he end up in Florida.
He still live in Florida.
Yeah.
So it would be good to have those voices saying, what made you sing such songs?
Because of the political time. No, well, obviously because man start afraid that socialism, them say man they never come with it.
Yes.
So them start dig up before it happen, and that's why them fly.
Well, we know that, but it would be nice to hear people talking. For example, I spoke with Patchin, VP.
Yeah.
He said to me, boy, Herbie, you really think I can do that? You know, some of them to tell them, so when I run, we know the hard time I face when I just land in America.
Yeah, she tell me that by that interview too.
Of course, look at them today.
Yeah, she tell me
you
that.
know, VP has triumphed.
Yeah,
way
the
beyond.
biggest distribution company in America now is into
Precisely. Yeah. So, and then, of course, our brethren Baba and they had songs like Check It Out.
Yeah.
Deep song, and I'm sure he has told you the inside story to that.
Yeah.
Songs, so many great songs.
Fire Burning.
And Against. Fire Burning is another one.
Yeah.
You have a tune by Whalers called 3 o'clock. Roadblock.
Roadblock.
You can't drive one block without a police and soldier roadblock pull you over.
A policeman locked me up in Admiralton police station and sing a song there to me. Because it was 3 o'clock. Yeah, because a virgin and me a drive and two other daughter and the virgin see them and them drop this cliff and them see it and them see them lock up the whole of the car go Admiralton police station. And when we in the cell, the man come there turn to the tune 3 o'clock road. I got to throw away my little herb stock.
But I was going to say, if you alone was driving, maybe you'd have had a nice case, because we all know that the only vegetable you consume is...
No, well, them never know. No, I know them days are like Mutabaruka now, Mutabaruka, them time there. Nobody don't know Mutabaruka them time there.
That's serious.
Yeah, man, I want to tell you, it's a brother named Gail, what's name again? Big man, their son. Anyway, when we go to the jail, when we go to the courthouse in Half Tree, and the judge asks him, yes, guilty or not guilty, him tell the judge, it's that I come to find out, sir. the court didn't tear down when him say that, sir.
Well, it's like when Peter go off a tree, and them say must take the oath and the Bible, so help me God, them say so help me Jah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even, people like Peter, among others, had songs which were really talking about the times.
Yeah.
Mark of the Beast.
Yes.
After the peace concert, what happened with him a couple of weeks later, the terrible flogging he had to play dead.
Yeah.
Coming out of that period, the Smile Jamaica concert,
yes.
The tragedy with Bob and his folks up there, then the concerts, the exile, the return, and there are others. Right now we have Minister Grange, who also was detained, exiled, and all these things happened, for better or for worse. These are the things we're trying to figure out at this stage. Because, Muta, we have a great country. I mean, you're a man who could have chosen where on earth you want to abide, aboard. And yet you're still here. All of us could. Many of us could, rather. And we choose right here. At the same time, we have to deal with what's happening, brethren.
Yeah.
And yet we travel so much to so many places, some of them coming from behind the starting line and have gone ahead of us in general terms.
Yeah.
And yet we still struggle to get it together with all that's going on.
Well,
how has decisions made by our leaders, not just our political leaders, but our business leaders, etc., affected the situation we are in? Have we really developed to the point where we can claim success? I don't know. We're exploring these things.
No, that's a rhetorical question, man.
It is, of course.
I mean,
really.
And
then my argument is, I would hope that we can explore this deeper. If you look at culture, and most recently, sport, and you can put sport under culture.
Yeah.
Since Herb McKinley and Les Lang and the Roden and them run that 400 meters in Helsinki about 1940-something, or 48, whatever it was, we have shown tremendous promise in track and field. But for one reason or another, we weren't bringing home the goals.
Yeah.
Not until the Bolt era that our young ladies and young men have been able to show what they can do.
Yes.
Now, for the past 60 years, music was the one showing who we are and what we can do on a global scale. Thank goodness, especially track and field has come up to join us in the music fraternity to keep that pressure on. If you look at, it's only 1966, I think it was, that Jamaica has had a real balance of payment in terms of what we export and what we import. Every other year in the 60 years, we have been at a deficit. I can't go much any deeper in it. I am not an economist, but that's a figure that any of us can relate to.
Yeah.
At the same time, we have big companies here, a private sector situation where these are successful businesses within the context of Jamaica.
And the Caribbean too, some of them even part of the Caribbean. Yeah, Caribbean there.
Yes, good.
Yeah, we that our the company them.
Yeah,
and the idea.
Many of them have been extremely successful, like man in the Caribbean. But could they have been much more? Had the educational system, the opportunities for the vast majority of our people who have African descent? Is it ironic that at the bottom of the bucket are the African descendants?
Still, yeah.
Until this day.
Yeah.
So how do we turn around these things? I hear people talk about Singapore and this and that, but that's a whole other thing. It was turned around. It has gone way past us. I'm not even going to dwell on that, except to say that we can deal with this control, and hopefully in the next 60 years, someone like you and I will sit and reflect on what happened in 120 years. So as we reignite the nation for greatness, in my mind, we have to look at how reading, writing, and arithmetic will be maintained and sustained at a higher level. But it ought to be joined by culture. We cannot treat culture as a quaint little thing. Oh, that's so cute and nice, singing and dancing and carrying on.
Yeah, well, I don't cut you, what do you want to know? All of the disciplines them where you can speak of, whether it is sociology, politics, religion, anthropology, all of them come from culture. Culture is the center of all of them something there. So you have to understand culture in order to understand anthropology, politics, religion. Religion come out of culture.
And you're so right. They all are informed by. And yet, if you should look at how endowed other ministries are in comparison to the Ministry of Culture, I would say that it's grossly underfunded to achieve anything close to what it is capable of. Yeah. I mean, recently, just towards the end of the year, the last 3 months of the year, the Donna and the Snargy Arena poll was very clear between sports, culture, and music. I don't know why they separate music from culture.
No, you can't separate music. Music is culture, part of culture.
But that's
and
how
sports,
the calculation was done. That's a clear 60% of the population that was interviewed. They indicated that that's our greatest area of success in 60 years.
Of course, definitely.
None of the governmental or business things got double digits. What does that tell us? I do not think that prosperity can be achieved without cultural development.
That me say too.
A man like you who I take it continue to go foreign and to great cities and do your job. I have stopped doing that for some time now.
Yeah.
But we see the concert halls, the clubs, the museums, the galleries.
The stadiums.
Listen to me, man. And if you should bring home a Jimmy Cliff to do a command performance here, we're going to put him on one beach and put bamboo around it and call that the place the man must perform. Can you imagine we do not have a space in this country for the proper, classy performance?
I'd love me there a ball for how long now. I don't know what Bob's idea is. I talk to her about it.
I do even put that burden on that lady, because I think she's such an enthusiastic, hard
No, but you see, if you not put the weight on her, she not going to put the weight on somebody who can make it happen.
Brethren, I believe that them ought to, as I said earlier, put the money in that ministry so it can spread out and build infrastructural development and just intangible cultural development as well. Because a successful, prosperous nation always has great cultural resources, and it's supported by the government. And those people tell you, but for example, museums don't make money. Really? When you look at the lines of a Matisse Picasso exhibition, Museum of Modern Art, and the sponsorship it gets, that's one thing. But the National Endowment of the Arts put money inside of all of the arts as well in these developed countries. What do they get out? Much more than they have put in terms of, if a family drive from Long Island to New York for a performance at Carnegie Hall or wherever, know that they're going to go to a restaurant.
Of course.
The concert is going to be finished before midnight. They're going to take a walk through Times Square, buy some T-shirts and stuff. Perhaps stop into a jazz club and listen to a late set. Go back to the parking lot and take out their bill. You know how much money that's gone into the system.
Yeah, man.
We have to start thinking like that. So these are the kinds of things that Grow Nation is trying to explore, if we can talk it, and something, Luther. It works as a sort of catharsis, a sort of reconciliation session.
Yes. All right, so what will take place? When it going to take place, by the way? All
right, it is every Sunday in February, starting on the 5th.
Oh, this Sunday.
This Sunday. And political advocacy.
Okay.
colonialism, we're coming out of that with the federation and independence.
Okay.
And we have people like Sonia Stanley Nyan, Elombe, Motley, Isis Samaj, and of course music to punctuate that. The second Sunday is February the 12th, fire burning, music, governance, and dance. And we have Lincoln Samaj on that one, and people like Clinton Hutton, Donna Hope, Cordell Green. On the 19th, running from Jamaica, capitalism, socialism, and Cold War politics. Simon Croskill will be the moderator. We have Michael Whittle, Winston, Patchin, and Paul Burke. And finally, on the 26th, the last Sunday, this one you definitely will relate to. It's called I Can't Believe It.
Michael Smith.
Ambush in the Night. The great Michael Smith, our brethren. Ambush in the Night. And Cliff Hughes will be the moderator with Kevin O'Brien, John Ibu Cooper, Tommy Cowan, Neville Garrick. And, so these are folks who, these are sisters and brethren who can get into this kind of thing and explore it for us. And of course, over the period, Big Youth respond to the Green Bay situation.
Of course.
1 year after independence, what happened in Montego Bay, Coral Gardens? Bad Friday. At Silas's visit, here comes Peter Tosh with all Babylon tremble when them see the Father's face. Rasta shook them up. So the point is that the music has responded to all of these things.
We have to move now, but you have to tell you the time them when every day, every Sunday.
2 o'clock every day. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock every day.
Before I move, of course, I want to just also talk a little bit about something that's happening on Thursday the 9th at the Institute of Jamaica. It's called Jamaica Sierra Leone Family Reunion. Blood of my blood, flesh of my flesh.
Okay.
And it is in celebration of Professor Rosalie Hamilton.
Yeah, we're supposed to do an interview too.
Honorary Council for Sierra Leone.
Yeah, we're supposed to do an interview in the coming week with her. Yeah.
There you go. And you know how dedicated she is to that situation. But the performers on that day will be Mystic Revelation of Rastafari, Big Youth. There's the fashion show by a designer from Sierra Leone.
Okay.
And they're the speakers on the topic.
All right, sir. Well, give thanks, Kirby.
Give thanks.
Yeah, man.
You see at least one of the Sundays.
Oh, you're going like you want to sleep, and you see the half hour you're gone.
No, man, to sleep. I read the motor.
Half hour you're gone.
I'm early to bed, man.
All right, sir. Give thanks.
No margin. Cool.
Yeah. The Church of England, which is Anglican, has finally said they're going to pay some money, some reparation for the part them play in slavery. Yes, and it's a serious thing when the Church of England say that. So we're going to see how far that it go or going to go. The Church of England is Anglican. They break away from the Rome. Well, it's not them, it's Henry VIII. Break away from the Roman Catholic Church and form a own church in England, which become the Anglican Church of England. You understand? So them finally come up front now and say, yeah, we did do some things, terrible things, and we really know if give a little thing to the reparation effort to see what will happen. So we're going to see what will happen with that.
What we are witnessing at our borders with black and brown families today is not who America has become. This is who America has always been. We have been here before. I know it feels brand new, but it's not. America snatched indigenous children from their families and their land in the name of God. America enslaved African-born children from their families for subjugation and control in the name of God. America snatched Japanese American children from their families, ruled by fabricated fear in the name of God. America snatched 250,000 predominantly black and brown children from parents who are
the thing. I'm 53, and so racism is generational, meaning that racism has changed over the years from what it used to be in the 60s and the 70s, even in the 80s. Racism these days is more subtle. My concern, my fear, I have a 30-year-old son and a 24-year-old daughter. My concern for them is that this generation is angry, but this generation isn't getting together to collectively do something about the issue. So while my generation was about the awareness, you have to be aware, you have to go out there, you have to create the movement. We would sit in, sit out, stand up, stand out. This generation is like, well, I really don't need to do that because I can sit anywhere I want to. I can live anywhere I want to. I can go anywhere that I want to. This is the thing. The mentality of the individuals who practice racism has not changed. The only thing that's changed is the way in which they express it. Racism is something that is taught. You are taught, don't like that person because they're black. If you look at 2 little children, 3, 4, 5 children playing in a park, they want to play because they're all little kids. They get older and they're told, no, you can't do this. Timmy can't play with Jaquanda. It just doesn't happen. Chica, get out of the road. This is New York. So the issue is that this generation needs to recognize, even though you think you can live anywhere, you try moving into an all-white neighborhood where they really don't want you, the cross will come. They will still burn it. So it's not that we can truly live anywhere we want. It's just that we have more areas that we can live. The reason that we're not as dedicated as a group to fighting the issue of racism is because before we were all subjected to live in one location, in one area. We supported each other in our black businesses. That's why you had black millionaires. What do we do now? We give other people our money. If all black people stop going to the movie theater, guess what? None of those movies that are hits would be hits. Why? Because ain't nobody go to the movies like black folks. We spend our money, but we don't go to see our movies. We go to see other people's movies. And so they say, since nobody goes to see black movies, and they go, we're not going to make any black movies. Back in the day when you could only go to the all-Negro theater, guess what? Everybody went. Everybody supported it. Now that we have choices, we've left our people behind. So my recommendation, my suggestion, my commitment, my prayer, my hope for your generation is love what you're doing, but you got to recognize that the power is in the numbers. The power is in doing it together. The power is in being a collective, cohesive unit, which we're not. Other races recognize that about us, and so from even a financial perspective of how we spend money, that's where the racism comes into play. They won't go into our stores, but they want our money. They won't come into our neighborhoods, but they want us to spend money in their neighborhoods. They won't come into a black car dealership, but who are the ones who drive some of the very, very expensive cars? So it's not that we don't have the money. We just need to be educated about how we spend it, because we have more power than we realize. We just don't know how to utilize and wield that power. If black people, nobody else but black people, decided that they were going to stop for one day, a 24-hour period, to stop spending, they would be amazed at the impact they would have. But no matter how much black people get together and say they're going to do that, there's always somebody somewhere who is like, I'm going to go to that gas station anyway. I'm going to go to that place anyway. And that's why it doesn't change and it doesn't end. But make no mistake, racism in America is alive and well. It has not died. It has not changed. This experience that my daughter had 3 weeks ago in Stone Mountain shows me that there's a whole other generation of people out there proposing racism, supporting it. They truly believe in it. The next time you're in a mall and a white person bounces into you, see if they say sorry. They don't even see you. They don't know you're there. So it's not that they're being rude. Honestly, they don't see you. It's called being invisible. I'm not American. This has been an amazing experience for me, coming to this country as an adult, having children in a society that I don't know anything about, coming from a country where everybody is black and we don't refer to people by color. You have to learn how to adapt to this environment. My request of your generation is explore outside the boundaries of America, because what it is that you're trying to do, it may not necessarily survive here, but there are other places where you can truly live, be powerful, be wonderful, be free. But having to do that in America is going to take far, far more time, far more commitment, far more collective, cohesive movement than this place has ever seen. And there aren't enough people who are aware of that to be able to do it together. But understand this, racism has not died and will never die. if you know the history of America.
Crisis, in a nutshell. Since 1996, over 6 million people have died in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, so that we, in the Western world, can benefit from its resources. Congo is extremely rich in gold, diamonds, copper, cobalt, tin, uranium, coltan, and many other precious minerals. Congo has 64% of the Earth's coltan, a precious mineral that is needed for our modern electronics like iPhones, iPads, computers, laptops, PlayStations, Xboxes, Nintendos, jet engines, inkjet printers, and the list goes on and on. In 1946, the Strategic Minerals Stockpiling Act was passed to obtain and stockpile cobalt. With the largest reserves of cobalt on the planet, Congo was targeted. Cobalt is a strategic and critical mineral that is essential for our aerospace, military, and defense industries. As the United States and the United Kingdom provide financial aid and military aid to countries such as Rwanda and Uganda, these neighboring countries plunder Congo's natural resources as the death toll rises. In 4 studies, the United Nations implicated multinational companies in sourcing coltan from Congo, stating that these companies serve as the engine of the conflict in the DRC. As the world benefits from Congo's riches, Congolese men, women, and children continue to be raped, tortured, starved, displaced, and killed. In 2010, a leaked United Nations report cited crimes of genocide may have been committed by the Rwandan troops. There is very little media coverage on what is actually happening in Congo. When Congo is covered by the media, it is often about rebel groups committing mass atrocities. What these reports do not cover are the funding, training, and the arming of these rebel groups by foreign governments. Nothing is ever mentioned about the Western-backed coups, wars, assassinations, or the involvement of foreign corporations in the looting of Congo. 48 women are raped every hour. Millions are displaced. Over 6 million dead. Half are children under the age of 5. What is happening in Congo is a silent Holocaust.
Yes. Listen carefully. And you know, there's a war taking place now in Ukraine. And the American government has given billions of dollars worth of weapons to the Ukrainians, and also they have declared now that the Ukrainians have rights, not as citizens of America, but refugees. They can come to America just like that and given status in America. Yeah, man. White with white is all right. But when we have to learn as African people. Well, a lady called me and said, Muta, why you play back that Dennis Brown song there? And I want you to dedicate it to yourself. I will give you the caller. I say, here, caller.
Good night, Honorable Mutabaruka.
I know you, but go and talk.
How are you, darling? Happy belated birthday to you.
Oh, gosh, man, give thanks.
Yes, and Matrix.
Matrix.
Yeah, man, him leave the program. I've got a rough vibe there, but, you know.
Eh?
Yeah.
It's rougher than mine? Him rougher than my voice?
No, man, it's one of vice was that, but him just to the program there, you know. I'm just going to hear feedback with him.
Yeah, man, give thanks.
Yeah, you know, so tonight, D. Brown, I'm a lover. D. Brown, I'm a lover from way back when and thing.
Then what you tell me, Sammy? Then what you tell me, Sammy?
I'm boss with some people. I tell them, say, yes, some man play Dennis Brown. They never play them Dennis Brown with Mutabaruka play tonight. Yeah, and I'm so why I say some, you know, yes, I'm Dennis Brown, a regular Dennis Brown.
Yeah.
But you're really tapa Dennis Brown.
So you hear them? You did hear them?
Me the program, Muta. You know who this is Sharon Tati, you know?
Who?
Sharon.
Which one? A 50 Sharon, we know. Which one is Sharon them?
The Sharon, down at King Street, Sharon, there is a fire up and thing, and the sugar mine at Sharon.
Oh, yes.
The black ladies.
Hey, Uncle, them time I hear from you, man. When I play them kind of music.
Listen to you straight.
Eh?
You listen to you straight, Muta.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just love your energy.
Yeah.
And your upliftment and the youth, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know,
You know, so I play.
Africa and represent.
I play on a Raytown couple Sundays from now, too.
I want to know the date. Let me know where the date.
You ever hear the date, man? You see we hear the date.
Yeah, because, you know, them baga music, I'm not used to their music.
I don't know. A long time you not see you though. How them no keep out down a sugar mine at place again? What happened?
Why? I don't know, you know. I don't really know, you know, Monta. You need to sit down. You know, it seems like you can't sit down with Jackie and all the vibes. I think you can't go on and all the vibes with it.
I never sit down and hold no vibes with Jackie.
No, you stand up and all the vibes, but it's emotion. I feel proud of you, you know. Listen, I feel proud of you, Muta, man. You know, because you sometimes hear the youth now, I say, oh, the big people, them and the big man, them now work with them, man. And, you know, but the emotion, them, man, you sit down and watch the TV.
Yeah.
Family make it live, and I watch it, and I say, well, it's only Muta could do that.
Yeah.
You know, and my sister, I want to open respect.
Yes. Well,
and everything, you know?
Up to him now, up to him. It's up to him.
Yeah. And then, no, I've not two sugar man. Give me a sugar man.
Dennis Brown.
Not two Dennis Brown, you know, why you play. Lips of Wine.
All right. That's the first song him singing, you know?
Yes, I remember you told me that.
I think Derek Harriet him do it for, I think, yeah.
Lips of Wine, and the one I said, I'm going to give you more.
Okay, I know it, you know, but I remember the name, I know. Yeah, I know which tune you talk, but I don't remember the name.
Yeah, Lips of Wine, I'm going to give you more.
Yeah.
I mean, I dedicated to the Rastaman there from Olympic Way Car Park, Iras. All right. In the leader program.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they're ramping up. You can't just say you can't follow things on the man.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, you want to know, before this, I want to play the song because woman, so I must play it and dedicate it to myself. Yeah. I play it a while ago.
I want to play a nice one for Metric then, you.
Matrix, him name, man.
Matrix, yeah, man. You know?
Yeah, all right. If you keep talking, you know, I'll get where you know that them do, because the program's so done.
Yeah, so big up Aras, you know, Sharon will be like, wow.
All right, Sharon, all right.
All right, Muta.
Iel,
Muta.
yeah, man.
Go on.
Dennis Brown will play from now till 2 o'clock. Straight, Dennis Brown.
Yeah, I know, and we're glad to know that Lips of Wine, which Dennis wrote and called Obsession, but Derek Harriet, the producer, changed the title to Lips of Wine. What was Dennis' first recording, 1969.
Yeah, I just say that.
Yeah, man. So, real nice, you know, and thing. And today is 100 days since Rishi Sunak became the British Prime Minister, and his pure problems. Yesterday,
hold on, before you go into that. You have a tune by Dennis Brown, I don't remember the name, the last I just saw my feet, and him say, I want to give you more. Something like, I want to give you more. You can identify the word in that song there? Him say, I want to give you more in that.
Brown, them no, not often, because several with them kind of lyrics about give you some more, a little bit more.
No, man, not that one. No,
a little bit more.
No, not that one, man. Is that
a little bit more.
Yeah, no, another one there.
Another one.
Anyway,
there.
all right, you're not going to remember. Anyway, go and talk where you talk. Talk quick more.
Yes, upon Dennis 66 Earth Strong yesterday, Wednesday. It's the biggest strike in Britain for over a decade from 2011. You know, over 500,000 teachers, drivers, civil servants, etc. Because they are demanding wage increase that will cope with inflation. Because the increase that the government offer now deal with inflation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, a lot of schools were closed to and things. So it really, really dread. And the Ukraine diversion, we never try youth not working because people are say them have money to send to Ukraine and things, but not money to pay people here and that type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And serious thing. And talking about that too, the soul surviving Scatterlight, man from Almantown, Leicester Sterling, who was 87 on the 31st of January, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
87.
Great hands, man. And
well, it was 87.
In Africa, the Pope Francis, and the British, the Anglican Guyana, Justin Welby, go to Sudan and Congo and I talk about people must forgive and that type of thing. But the people them in Africa who are Christians that say that them are really fire on Pope Francis and Justin Welby of the Church of England because them say them must support the homosexual and lesbian agenda. Which is against for the Christian biblical teaching, man. But a lot of people don't know that the reason why the Pope Francis and Justin Welby of the Church of England gone to Africa, to the Congo, and also to the Sudan, is that you hardly have any Christians in Britain and the rest of Europe. Again, most of the Christians who them can control and things are in Africa, and them coming under pressure from the Protestant type of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, most of the British people are turned atheists and all too.
Yes.
Most of them are turned atheists.
You know? Atheists, yes. So really and truly, the vast majority of Christians are in Africa and things, not in Britain and the rest of the thing.
Africa, I know.
Them talking about, say, a man can now become a woman just by saying him feel same as a woman, and vice versa. That is causing holy madness. And Muta, I agree with the athletes, and I'm sure you agree too, that especially the woman athletes, them say them totally against this idea when them planning that guys who say them is woman can now
in a woman race.
Athletics competition
In a woman race.
Against them as women because them is no woman.
Yeah, and vice versa too. Woman who feels them a man.
Vice versa, but it's madness. It's madness.
Well, they must say no. You have to gender neutral. You don't have no man or woman again. You have person. The person.
Exactly. What they call non-binary, like the boy, the Sam Smith, where video coffee from Spanish Town in a thing, where him say it is neither she nor a he. It must be a shim.
Yeah, gender neutral.
Yes, Sam Smith say him is neither he. Him offended if anybody call him him.
Yeah,
that is neither him nor a she. He's non-binary.
That's right.
So it must be a shame.
Yeah.
I push them nastiness on people and Muta. This is why we as African people, we have to continue to have sex education with our children because we can't have these perverts indoctrinate our children with them sexual perversities and that type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, we have to go move now. We have to go move. We have to move because we have something you have to take care of before the program, Lord.
Yeah, man. I'm big up Leroy Simmons, who was 74, the living legend.
Yeah.
On the 29th of January.
All right, so give thanks, yeah?
All right. Yes, Shane. Bless up African people worldwide.
Yeah. So you will say that somehow. have some truth to get through before the program done. Here we go. It's EL. Greetings.
EL Motor.
Yeah, man. May I hear you, man?
Yeah. I say, never did I listen from the earlier from the forward till what.
Right, Dennis Brown, I play straight. Dennis Brown, straight up.
Yes, no, man. We love that, man. We just call in to heal up the prince of the reggae vibe, man. And we give thanks for the energy we push across the world. Straight across the years, you know. And we give thanks for ones like you who keep the energy of these ones who created such a major impact across the world with this beautiful music. And to see where the music has reached now and to see where it's coming from, it's really sad. You know, and we're glad for the energy of the ones them like you who are still there, keep the fire burning with the reggae touch. You know, as I say, whenever did I listen from earlier on, still.
Yeah, well, go and listen then. Go and listen because I'm going to 10 minutes left for tight and we have some more. There's
yeah,
to play.
I understand that, but when I ask the eyes to do, I know you should plan out for tomorrow already still, but if you can squeeze in one, then it's going to say, God bless the children. A long time when I hear that one upon the airwaves. You know, so we love that one day if you can squeeze in that one for remote.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good thanks. Yeah?
Bless it.